one of my captors refused redemption. He did not see value in that stretches the sanity of the mind.
me! I won't die so easily. Be gone, please! Dance with the flame! No! Not here! Not now! Burn it all to the ground! Dream not! Roll down with me! Not here! Not now! It's done! Get out of here!
Just even
Hi everybody here, this is the end of day 4. As you can tell, the build has completely changed, but the fundamentals are pretty much the same as day 3. So this is a deck stacking assassin, except instead of Cobra Lash, Poison Cobra Lash, this is now Mamba. So as I said at the start of the league, generally assassin has a lot of options. You almost always play poison for most things, but with poisons you have a lot of options on what you want to play. Right now this is just a rough setup. There's some optimization here, but I haven't really gone into detail about all the optimization I could accomplish. So there's some things I still haven't really figured out, like for example slots. I have like, I don't know, 5 slots that I'm missing just because I don't really know what to put in these slots at the moment. But in time I'll get there. Anyway, I'm going to cover why Mamba and why this is a pretty good setup. It's decent clear. Fortress was a little sketchy at the end, mostly because I probably misplayed. This build needs a lot more focus than, let's say, a Wander or range build, just because these annoying range mobs that specifically focus on Alith instead of... Is it Alith? Yeah, Alith instead of you. The melee ones just chase you around, but the range ones somehow just sniper for some reason. So, yeah, I'm gonna cover well, I'll show you exactly how this build works, how it scales, and how much investment has been so far. So around here, what you're looking at is possibly close to about 30 something divines. The DPS currently is at about, I think, 21 mil single target. It's not dot cap yet, but in time it'll get there. EHP is 59k, so 59k EHP with a 13k Fizz max hit, and like, what was it, 44k elemental max hit. You have life, yes, and you also have the guard shield that comes from Heart of Flame. All these kind of make you pretty tanky, tanky enough to do content pretty easily. I died there in Guardian Mass just because I just want to, I got greedy, okay? Sometimes it happens where your first few hits don't proc poison, or something messes up and you like don't see the mob take down. Anyway, so why poison is, why Mamba on Assassin, and why not Pathfinder? So one of the main reasons is that Pathfinder's strength historically has been his proliff. Now this proliff is not, you can get this proliff elsewhere. You can get it here. So Fireborn the Embalmer, you can get killing a poison enemy, nearby enemies are poisoned, so that's the proliff mod. You don't have it like the Pathfinder, where Pathfinder has it conditional. Pathfinder needs, what was it? You need like Flask to be active for you to get the bonus or to get the proliff. Down here you get it for free. Secondly, poisons you inflict deal damage faster. That's also the other Fireborn mod. Really good if you combine both of them on the same glove, right? Because this is like pretty much the ideal Mamba glove, let's put it this way. You have faster poisons as well as near poison proliff. So in that case, really, you don't really need Pathfinder to play this. You can play Assassin. And why Assassin is because you can scale Perfect Agony for cheap, and you can pretty much get 100% crit for cheap, right? So what Assassin has is this, knife in the back, 100% more critical strike chance against enemies that are not on low life. So that means if your crit chance is at 50%, you're gonna do 100%, basically gonna always crit as long as it's not below low life, right? If you're dealing with a target that has already gone below low life, you can use ambush to get your crit back up, and that will help show up the difference, right? So you not only get 100% crit from weapons that don't really have good crit. For example, these weapons are like 7 base crit and not great, but you just need to get 50%, and then you do that and you get 100% crit. Then also you get opportunistic, which is less damage taken when there are 2 or 3 2 or more rare or unique enemies nearby. So when you're surrounded in high density packs, you're going to take 35% less damage. Then you're also going to use Fortify, so that's 20% less, that's 50% less overall. I'm not sure if they're multiplicative, they may be additive, I don't know. But yeah. And then on single target, 25% more damage on a single rare or single unique. Damage from your crit strikes also cannot be reflected, so reflect maps are possible as a result. And yeah. So poison, definitely you're gonna go for all hits and poison, as well as toxic delivery, because the only way you can get, the only way you can do that is to go through here. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's cover gear and then cover the skill tree. So for gear, your gloves are gonna be really cheap. These you can get under 5C. If you can snipe with those with decent rolls, that would be great, but they're just 5C, really. They're just 5C. 5 to 10C should be able to get you both gloves. So that alone is pretty cheap. Fractal Thoughts, you don't really need the implicit, but if you want a normal Fractal Thoughts, it's also really cheap. Like, all these 3 items are like... Deck stacking is kind of like the cheapest stacker available, yeah. So yeah, so these 2 and then Fractal Thoughts. Astral Madness is getting cheaper now. This cost me about 90C, I think, about 90C thereabouts. It was 90, 93, and then I catalysed it up, and then I anointed it for Sion's Ambition, so that gives me like a longer strike range. And then I'll show you the strike count later, which will allow me to pretty much clear screens while moving forward. Then rings, you want dexterity, you want resistances, elemental damage to attacks is kind of okay-ish. It's not like amazing because you have so much low tolerance. But these are from my old build, so I'm still using them. Might swap them out for something else if I feel like it, but for now I'm using these. So similar, both rings are pretty similar. It would be nice, I think, if I got mana cost reduction. So if I got life and just res and dex and mana cost reduction, that would be great. But, you know, it is what it is. So, yeah. These are like, this was like 2 divine and this was 1 divine, I think. So altogether it was 3 divines. Body armor is generally cheap if you don't get a 6 link. I actually bought this without a 6 link and linked it myself in 75 fusing, so I got really lucky there. I really wanted something that had ES evasion just so I could get a decent ES layer. And then also I didn't want anything on the prefixes, so I can get the 15% maximum life mastery. Yeah. Energy shield, the recharge start is great just when you stop taking damage. So I went for dex and that, and then empty suffix for increased attributes. So this is my 6 link. I'll show you the links later. Glove is obviously Foreborn the Embalmer, the Embalmer with Foreborn version. You only want the Prolif mod at a baseline. Poisons you inflict deal damage 18% faster is if you can afford it sort of thing. If you can't, that's fine. Belt, you either do a Stygian Vice or you get a Synthesis belt with percentage dexterity. In this case here, I got the Synthesis belt and crafted it. This was 2 divs, and then I crafted it for another. I actually got it quite cheap, maybe about 50C or so. I got lucky. What you want to do is you just want to spam essences till you hit like life roll and 1 res or 2 res rolls and then empty prefix, and then you craft on life. Garrokan's Plight, obviously. In this case here, I managed to buy a corrupted one with suppression. The reason being is once I have that, I can drop like 1 node here and 1 node here. I haven't actually figured out flasks. Flasks are completely garbage. You can just ignore them for now. Let's cover the existing links. So auto exertion and ancestral cry. This is going to give you your strike count. So you get +2 strike targets, and then you have 8 counts of these. You will cool this down. This will cool down faster than the your use case. So you always have this up. So you always have permanent +2. Then you have Grace for defenses, faster casting, Despair, just to proc my BOTs, my Balance of Terrors. Ambush with faster casting is just to proc to get free crit whenever basically the mob is less than half, or I'm starting a fight. I'll use this. Pretty good to lead into boss fights. Alright, so Frostblink for mobility, faster attacks, and Welding Blades. Why am I putting Sadism here? It's because it's possible for you to bleed, to poison with these. So if you move through mobs and you poison them, you don't want the poisons to last too long that you can't apply this, your Mamba. So I put Sadism here so that your poisons will drop off before you apply Mamba. Flesh and Stone for defenses, Alchemist Mark with Mark on support, pretty self-explanatory. Yeah, now I've got like 5 more empty slots to fill. I haven't really thought about it yet, so I'm just gonna leave it for now like this. Okay, let's talk about the pathing. You want to path down here, you want to get life nodes, sockets. Basically, Mamba requires investment, okay? You can leak start Mamba, but it's a lot more painful. I think it's easier to leak start Cobra Lash and do what my day 1 and day 2 setup is, because that was super cheap, didn't require any clusters, and you hit like 1-2 mil DPS on, well, not on Cobra Lash, but you can hit 1-2 mil DPS on like Gen Cry, Blade Flurry. Anyway, so path here, get all the life evasion nodes. You want to get suppression as well. Down here, once you get low tolerance jewels, all the percentage increase nodes don't make sense on trees. So you're just going to get as much crit as possible. Crit multi is possible. I actually need to drop these 2 nodes, but I need the res for now. You can ignore this section. You don't really have half here until you have enough damage, and you can just start specking defenses. But here you get a life node. You want to run elusive on the dagger mastery, and down here also has elusive effect. So elusive effect and 40% crit multi on elusive. For the claw mastery, you want a 40% increased elusive effect. Then down here, poisons you inflict on non-poison enemies deal 300% increased damage. You could probably move this here, but down here I don't really have a good notable. If this was like percentage dex or 20 dex, I would just take this and move this here, because then I'll get the more dex overall. Perfect agony, of course, because that's how you scale poison damage from crit. And then you have like clusters. I've gone for like the lightning ones because they're super cheap. And mostly because the crit is actually useful here. The percentage increased damage is like kind of meh with all the low tolerance jewels. So all the low tolerance jewels, you have one with at least unwavering so that you avoid getting stunned. And then low tolerance and stuff like maybe him or hedge, which will give you crit chance as well. The damage over time multiplier doesn't actually really do anything. Same here, not really same here. So you want low tolerance here, but you also want something like this. Eternal suffering, 50% chance to inflict withered for 2 seconds on hit if there are 5 or fewer withered debuff for enemies. Since you're gonna be hitting very infrequently, this is going to help you get a decently reliable uptime on your withers. Yeah, and then you puff your suppression, dexterity, life, etc. Not much to think about. This is a relatively simple build in terms of pathing. Everyone almost always paths very similar ways. Yeah. Alright, so roughly the whole cost of this is about 35 divs. This is not within budget, so don't buy it unless you can really afford it. Priority is probably get Firebond without the faster poisons. You probably can get a non-faster poison one for cheap. And then rest is very attainable. I mean, if I would just ran through the gear. Day 4, most content creators could afford this setup. If you want to play casually, you probably can afford it like, I don't know, end of week 1, maybe into week 2. But yeah. Alright, that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, one last thing. So brutal restraint, get ones with a lot of poison you inflict deals damage faster. That's gonna help you do more DPS. Alright, that's pretty much it. See you guys. I'm out. Bye.